For an athlete building a personal brand, the biggest mistake you can make is choosing a platform based on popularity, not what's actually going to give you leverage to get paid more for your name, image, and likeness. In today's video, I'm going to go over the 3 major platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, talk about what their pros and cons are and which one you should pick, because, by the way, there is a winner. So let's start with a one-liner general description of what each of these platforms are. So, for instance, Instagram is going to be your visual community. I know there's 2 M's in here. Building, okay? TikTok is going to be your viral entertainment growth. And YouTube is educational authority. You want to remember each one of these things as you are choosing which one is going to be best for you when starting your personal brand. And this is particularly relevant because at the beginning of your content creation journey, building a personal brand, you want to focus on one Halo platform and potentially repurposing to a satellite. Let me describe what that actually looks like. So if you have a Halo platform, then this can be redistributed to a satellite here and a satellite here. A quick example of this is if, let's say, your YouTube is your Halo platform, you can then redistribute to Instagram through redistributed or repurposed Instagram Reels. And then over on this other side, you might do YouTube Shorts, which could be a really great way to get some growth as well, but you're redistributing this one long form piece of content that then you're pushing to different platforms. There's also considerations that you're gonna make for these 3 platforms based on your ideal customer profile or your ideal audience member, essentially who you're gonna be talking to. For a younger demographic, something like TikTok or Instagram Reels is gonna be a little bit more powerful because you'll get more attention quicker, whereas an older generation, like myself in my early 30s, is gonna be much better suited to watching a longer form YouTube video because Instagram Reels and TikToks are just a little bit too much for my brain to process, and so I like watching longer form. So you wanna cater to who that ideal customer profile is. In order to compare these in a way that will make the most sense, I've broken the whiteboard down into 8 categories. So I'm actually going to put YouTube here, Instagram here, and TikTok or TT right at the bottom. And we're going to go through each of the 8 categories and I'm going to rank them on a scale of 1, 2, or 0 to 5 stars based on the benefit of each one of these 8 categories. So the first category is discovery speed. Now, this is how quickly can a random person who doesn't know you actually come and find you. Now, as we look at our board, I'm going to put discovery. YouTube, I'm going to say 2 stars. Instagram, probably 3 stars. Now, it used to be a little bit higher. TikTok, easily 5 stars. Now, the reason for that is TikTok's algorithm works really well to push your content organically to as many people as possible early on to find out which types of people actually enjoy your type of content. Whereas on YouTube, it takes a little bit more and the YouTube actually rewards specific content over the course of a long period of time. So oftentimes with many creators on YouTube, you'll see a graph that's really, really slow at the beginning in terms of viewership and then all of a sudden goes super bell curve or super exponential. And basically what that means is YouTube obviously found, as long as you've created consistent content, YouTube has found your thing and your niche, and it's getting pushed to exactly that customer avatar or ideal customer profile. The second category is audience depth. So how well does your audience, how well does my audience know me as a person? So as we look down at our board, we're going to use depth as that next category. For YouTube, this is easily 5 stars, particularly with the longer form. Instagram, probably right in the middle there. TikTok, I'm actually only going to give 1 point. And the reason for that is unless you're posting about 5 or 6 TikToks a day showing all different types of your life vlog style and sharing your thoughts like that, there's no way to replicate the depth of understanding and awesomeness, in my opinion, that YouTube has to offer in terms of that audience connection and knowing who you are. The third category is trust and authority. So how much credibility does this platform naturally create for you? If you say, I have 100,000 followers on YouTube or 100,000 followers on TikTok or 100,000 followers on Instagram, what is the weight of that statement? So looking down here, we're gonna say trust. And for YouTube, easily 5 stars for me. Instagram, again, a little bit more on kind of the middle of the ground. 2 to 3 is usually where I'd put Instagram, and TikTok I would also put 1. Number 4 is content longevity. So how long does a piece of content actually keep working for you and your brand? Now looking down at the board, we're gonna say longevity for this one, longevity. For YouTube, easily a 5-star for me, 4 to 5 star. YouTube pushes content that's really, really old and continues to push it for me. Again, middle of the road here for Instagram, although I will say Instagram recently has done a better job of pushing older content, but we'll give it kind of middle of the road here. And TikTok, nothing more than a 1 here, unfortunately. It's great for viral content, split second and immediate reaction stuff, but TikToks that happened a week, 2 weeks ago are basically never looked at again. Number 5 is time investment. So how demanding is each platform in order to win consistently? Now, if we look down at here, we're going to do investment. So how much time do you have to put into the platform? This is easily a 1. It does take a lot of time to kick up. Instagram, I would say, actually is more like a 4. It's pretty easy to get started on Instagram. TikTok, super, super simple to keep going. Very, very low barrier to entry, which can be really beneficial for some people. Number 6 is monetization leverage. So how easy does attention on the platform turn into cash flow for you or your business? So looking down here, we've got monetization. Now this has changed pretty recently. So YouTube, for a very long time, I would give this one probably a 4 because there's really good medium-term strategies and amazing long-term strategies for monetization. Instagram sort of now is a bit of a middle of the road. You can get some decent early ones for a small creator, let's say 10,000 followers, and you can get some pretty cool deals all the way up to my size at 100 and even 1 million followers. You can get some amazing deals on Instagram. TikTok, on the other hand, is the one that's changed quite a bit. So I'm actually going to put TikTok at, if you're smart, at 4, because I think there are some people who are doing an excellent job with TikTok Shop, which is obviously a new integration as of about a year ago or however long. And so that is a platform that has really grown. Although I will say that TikTok is a lot more, maybe we'll knock it actually down to a 3 now that I'm thinking about it, just because it's not as consistent as what a YouTube channel sponsor might be able to offer you. Number 7 is ICP precision. So how directed at the specific audience is each of your platforms? So let's go down here to our little board here. So ICP, and for YouTube, very, very highly precise. Usually people who start channels find it really difficult, again, with that curve that kind of looks like one of these, because YouTube takes a really long time to make sure they know who your audience is, and then they'll go hardcore on pushing it to that audience. Instagram is actually pretty decent. It's pretty semi-targeted, although you can get a little bit of noise here. I'll give that one a 4, benefit it out. TikTok, on the other hand, massive, massive, massive amount of people on TikTok, and it's usually very, very noisy. There's people who follow you that don't really care about you or your product offering. They're following you because they saw one thing that they really liked or some offhanded TikTok that you posted, and you get the idea there. So that's where we're at. 5 for YouTube, 4 for Instagram, and 2 for TikTok. All right, number 8, and maybe the most important category, which is career longevity fit. So number 1 question we ask ourselves in this category is this platform gonna be around for a long term? And is this the platform that's actually going to give me the brand prestige that I'm looking for my personal brand as I retire from my sport and get into the next phase of my life? So going down here, we're going to call this, we'll call this fit. So long-term fit. So for YouTube, this is an easy one. We see people of all ages and especially getting into the more professional realm. I think Instagram for me on this one in terms of career fit is probably pretty low. So I'm going to give it a 2 and easily a 1 here for TikTok, just because TikTok tends to be great for getting a ton of attention. But in terms of long-term, what you want to be doing and providing value to people, I find that the YouTubers that I follow carry much more prestige in terms of their brand than those on TikTok. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think. All right, so as we can see with our massive graph, there tends to be a bit of a theme here. You'll see some really high numbers for Instagram and TikTok here in the investment, meaning that it's a really easy investment to get into. But as it trails off into the monetization and the ideal customer profile, the trust and depth of your audience, it can get a little bit more difficult difficult to justify the shorter form content. Now, in summary of these three platforms, and again, I'm not telling you which one you should do as an athlete building a personal brand, but there are pros and cons to all three of these platforms. So YouTube, put simply, best for long-term and cash flow monetization, but it is really hard to build over time. It took me 8 months to get to 1,000 subscribers, and that was posting twice or 3 times a week. That's a lot of effort to put in. Instagram, on the other hand, is a really nice middle ground, especially for community building, because it has the DM feature, like many of you know, and it's pretty decent long-term. Instagram has shown that they are willing to go with the trends and sort of move towards the TikTokification of social media, and then they've moved a little bit back to where quality was and really interesting visual content creation. TikTok, on the other hand, is easy to start and grow. It's excellent. It's the best platform to really quickly start and scale a brand really quickly in terms of followers, but those followers are often worth a lot less, and it needs often something else to build credibility. So whether that's credibility that you get through pointing them at a YouTube channel, whether that's a newsletter or whether that's a community of some sort that's private, maybe it's on school, maybe it's on Discord, things like that, that are allowing you to really get to know your audience as opposed to being a bunch of random followers from all over the world. If you're still having trouble choosing which platform you would like to choose, let me show you a quick framework that might really help you. So if we draw a little Venn diagram here, so 1 circle here, 2 circles there, and let me make sure I get this. There we go. All right, perfect. So here on this end is your ideal customer profile. So this is what they watch/like. Then this is your ideal future self, you, and this is what you're good at. So a question to ask yourself is, am I better writing? Am I better speaking? Am I better on camera? What are the skill sets that I actually have? Or what are the skill sets that I can really quickly scale and build for myself? And then here at the bottom, this is, time investment. So this is how long can you sustain? And at the middle, I'll actually write this in red just to make it pop on screen. Here in red is your Halo platform. And that is equal to the focus of your personal brand and how you're going to get your message out to the world very quickly. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Stay dangerous, y'all.